Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation. All you need is the will to do right, do right, do right.
And we're live. Welcome to a brand new episode of Anecdotally. Australia was never anything other than a penal colony, and NATO wishes for Trump. I don't know what that's about. We'll find out with Sean. How's it going today, Sean?
Hey, it's Monday. We're back. We're here. We're back here. Still somewhat, I don't know. It's fine. It's Monday.
Yeah. Also, I am your host, Jay Fry, because I forgot to mention that part. What NATO wishes for Trump? What's that about?
Boris Johnson has reportedly said, according to him jokingly, that he, really wishes they still had Trump. Macron has berated Biden, and Angela Merkel has scowled under her breath about Biden. So they're really kind of wishing Orange Man were back, or still in charge, as it were.
Oh yeah, he never would have abandoned those people. He would have kicked them out. Look, we're going to be here leaving next week. You can get out. No.
Yeah, well, I mean, they would have, had he still been there, they would have been out by May 1st.
Mm-hmm. May 1st is the end date. Not like the start of the withdrawal, the end of the withdrawal.
Right. And let's be honest. That is just as bad of a day to pull out as September 11th.
No. How do you figure?
It's May Day. It's a communist goddamn holiday.
They're going to be up before May 1st.
Yeah, but officially they're going to, sign the deal and peace out on that day.
They would have been out like middle of April. All right, so the original plan was blow the ever-loving shit out of the Taliban, which happened in 2018. We haven't had an American death in Afghanistan since 2018. Forgive Joe Biden, but before that, we hadn't had one. And that was because Trump went heavy and beat the ever-loving shit out of the Afghan Taliban. They were only left in Pakistan. And during the winter, they were recruiting in Afghanistan or in Pakistan and stuck on the other side of the goddamn mountain because of snowfall. So if we would have left, we would have left cleanly, because there would have been all of a couple thousand, maybe at most.
Yeah, there would have been embassy staff and maybe some contractors left.
No, I'm saying at most across the entire of Afghanistan, there would have been maybe a couple thousand Taliban, and not together. They were hiding at home for the foreseeable future because they had been decimated. Literally to the decimal.
1/10 of them?
Yeah, I mean, he fucked up the Taliban. That's like the thing they allowed him to do, because they were lying to Trump the entire time about troop numbers. Like, we had 30,000 in country. They were saying there was less because they were trying to keep him from booting them. So Trump was drawing down by 5,000. And they're like, oh, sir, that's very dangerous. Meanwhile, they have twice that number. And they admit it in everywhere. It's literally everywhere that, we tried to save this democracy by lying to the president about the numbers.
Yeah, that's true.
So had we gone off, there would have been like 6 Taliban would have came to the army and been like, give us your guns. For 6 Taliban? No, you shoot the 6 Taliban. Hell, when you're an army of 300,000, you don't give it up to 75,000. But they did.
Because they weren't. Yeah, they weren't real soldiers. You cannot get them to have the will to fight when you are such an overwhelming force in a foreign land, telling them what to do and how to do it. They're going to acquiesce and do it shittily, which they did, shittily. And then as soon as your brother comes in and says, "Assalamu alaikum," you're going to go, "Hey, brother," and hand him your gun, or just go ahead and do whatever he says to do.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure the Afghan president would have preferred it under Trump when he would have gotten all 4 planes full of cars full of cash on the plane.
Yeah. I mean, it was going to be a clusterfuck no matter what, but it would have been less of a clusterfuck and have more positive deniability had we stuck to Trump's plan, because you're right. The Taliban wouldn't have invaded immediately, causing us to flee and abandon people and equipment. We would have been out, technically, or out enough that when they overran the embassy, which would happen eventually, we would have just closed the doors and moved on out.
Yeah.
Declared it a failed state and moved on.
Yep. But it would have been a failed state protected by the Afghan army.
Right. Not our responsibility.
Mm-hmm. We had like 3,000 troops in country at the time. We had, like, at the end, when you're leaving the country, you blow up the bases so that they can't be taken over by the rebels or the Taliban. Yeah, they got the explosives because they weren't even put in the fucking buildings. Because just such a clusterfuck on a level that could have been foreseen by even people not like just with no tactical experience whatsoever, like never played a video game level of tactics.
Yeah.
Could have foreseen this coming. Withdrawing in the height of battle season. Now, usually, like, the only thing they had going for them is it's August. It's the hottest month. They're the most docile. But you can drive a tactical in the heat. The wind's nice. It's still a hot heat, or it's still a hot wind. But it is a hot heat. No, don't get me wrong. But yeah,
Arizonan.
Dude, you're not. I mean, you're the closest thing we got to a desert. But yeah, still that. For a second, I thought when I first pulled this up, I thought it might have been a FEMA camp or something until I saw the Thunderdome. It's like, oh, no, never mind. It's apparently it's different than what I thought it was. That is clearly the Thunderdome. With a surprisingly lack of weaponry on the wall for the Thunderdome.
Well, it's, they're still building those facilities.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they're basically Thunderdomes.
Dude, they wanted to take 25,000 kids. 2,500 kids or 25,000 kids?
I don't know. I didn't follow it that closely.
Yeah, they're
I was about to go John Wick on them just for shooting the dogs.
What now?
In Australia.
They're shooting dogs?
They shot shelter pets that were ready to be and were processed for adoption by people, but they didn't want to hand them over to those families because they thought it was a COVID vector. So they shot the dogs. Didn't euthanize them, shot them.
Yeah, I was assuming with the shot them part, but what, do they not want to waste the needles?
Australia is a penal colony and has never been anything other than an open-air prison where everything wants to kill you the entire fucking time.
You know what? Back in the late 90s, I'm talking like 99, I was on Yahoo Messenger, And we would talk to Australians, and like eventually they'd get mouthy with us, calling us tankies or something, and we would friendlily remind them that they were a prison colony. And 20s, you know, I was nearly 20, and the people who were in the group were of a similar age. Didn't know they were a penal colony.
Yeah, I can believe that.
And I'm like, are you not taught like a history at all? And now on the internet it's more known, but at the time they weren't taught they were a penal colony. And I think the only way that it got around was the U.S. reminding them of that, and it's circulating over a 20-year period. Like, you were England's jail.
Yeah, you were exactly where they dumped the refuse. You were spawn of refuse.
And your slaves were stupider than our slaves because your slaves forgot how to make fire. In the history of the world, just you guys, Aborigines forgot the secret to fire. Had it, forgot it. How does that happen?
That's a good question. I had never heard that story before.
You never heard that they forgot to make fire?
No.
Yeah. This was like 100 years ago, so it was still like pre-lighter, which I kind of get. Like maybe you could forget if your entire generation grew up with Bics. But yeah, there's stories out there because I talk to a lot of Australians about how they just lay down in the center of the road, and I do not understand how the road is less hot than the sand. I mean, the sand's not black.
Yeah, but it's coarse and it gets everywhere.
Is there not sand on the fucking road? Point is, I don't know why they're laying down outside anyway, unless it's a lunch picnic.
How dare you miss my joke?
Is that a quote?
Yes.
Yeah, I missed it.
Yeah, it's from the Star Wars prequels.
Dude, I haven't seen them.
What?
I told you, like, I always tell you, I haven't seen since Han Shot First. I stopped watching Star Wars in like 1987.
Okay, then. Then yeah, I guess you would miss my joke.
I literally, when Lucas went back and changed it so that Han Shot First, I said, fuck you. I don't care how good you are.
When you mean Greedo shot first?
No, when Han shot first.
Han shot first was the original.
Yeah, and then they changed it.
Right, to Greedo shooting first. Yeah.
Oh, did I? Okay, yeah, I'm with you. But when they changed it, I'm like, I don't like that at all. Nope. So I stopped watching them. Because I've always reluctantly watched George Lucas. Like, Howard the Duck, I'm like, I want to really like it. And I do really like it. But it's like, there's something missing there. And, but, you know, I really like Indiana Jones, so there's still something weird about it.
Yeah, but he only produced Indiana Jones. Didn't Spielberg actually do the directing?
Yes. But it's like, there's always something off about him.
Yeah, George Lucas is one of those guys I want running the shops behind the scenes, like the special effects shops, the sound shops, the CGI shops for what it is, you know. Just he's real good at those. Like real good at those. As a director, he's kind of middling. I mean, he doesn't suck, but he's not fantastic.
as speaking of directors, I hate M. Night Shyamalan.
Shamalama Ding Dong?
I guess I can't stand him
That's a
with
twist.
his bullshit Dutch angles and his Marina Abramovich was made to apologize to the Aboriginal people. Stephen says, I have no idea what that's about.
I don't either.
But yeah, whenever I see Lucas films, it makes my teeth itch. Because I just saw it, I watched Willow again the other day. And that movie it feels like it had George Lucas and
Shamalama Ding Dong.
no, Harvey Weinstein. Because I feel like that movie was cut short for distribution.
Probably was. And that's weird too, because that came out in the early '80s when long movies were no problem.
But I mean, just like okay,
I think the original cut of Blade Runner is like 6 hours long.
is it? God damn. But like, there's always like weird child themes in his stuff, like Willow, stolen baby, Howard Duck dressed as a baby, Labyrinth again, stolen baby, Star Wars, magic babies, twin babies. It's just
And stolen.
yeah, it's just. There's always a weirdness to him. The Indiana Jones, did he ever rescue like a golden baby or something?
Well, there was Short Round.
You the best of the Jones.
No time for love, Dr. Jones.
Oh
Margot.
God, Margot was the worst. Or not Margot. Yeah, just the strong women in Indiana Jones were not strong women. They were abusive women who took advantage of somebody who respected women. You saw that when What's Her Nut got taken over by the Nazis as soon as they entered. You're not a strong woman. You're just pretending to be a strong woman. You're taking advantage of Indiana Jones because he's a fucking faggoty professor. Are Abos even human? Answer is that's racist. Possibly. I'm gonna look up fucking George Lucas films and just bash on them now. Although I do like The Last Crusade. Sean
Corvette
Connery,
Summer.
Indiana Jones.
Corvette Summer is one of his, I believe.
American Graffiti?
Also one of his, I believe.
And
No, Corvette Summer wasn't his. That's what Harrison Ford was in before he was in Star Wars. Or Mark Hamill. One of the two of them.
I think Mark Hamill, because Harrison Ford was on a construction crew.
Yeah, he was a carpenter.
Yeah.
Black Magic, they're in Hollywood. Yes.
Beverly Hills Cop 3 was very Hollywoody with like just a total rip on speaking of what's his name was in Beverly Hills Cop 3. God damn it, I can't think of his name. The guy from Mr. Ed. Wilbur.
What?
He was Uncle Dave.
Okay.
Well, we were just talking about Mr. Ed earlier.
Well,
he's in the Pixar Story, which is kind of funny if you think about it. Like, I had to sell Pixar. Howard the Duck hurt me in more ways than you can imagine.
You may not like George Lucas, and the prequels got a bad rap. But I'll tell you one thing, they are fine art in comparison to the new three.
The new three or the new three?
The new 3. The 7, 8, and 9. That are hot garbage.
All right, so little Hollywood pedo story for you. I fucking love Powder. Have you seen Powder?
I saw it when it came out. Didn't care for it.
You didn't?
Nope.
Are you sure you're not thinking of Chocolate? Because Powder was fun.
Powder was the albino white dude.
Yes.
Yeah.
Anyway, yeah, I love that movie. Written and directed by well-known Hollywood pedo, Victor Salva. Next movie he tries to make, he's filming, and they never mention where he's filming, but he's got the cameras and everything, and he invites over kids to fillet him and record it, and he gets arrested for it and charged for it. But they never mention he's at Francis Ford Coppola's house. In the house. The cameras were in the house. Francis Ford Coppola in the house. Never mentioned him. Just to show how they negate it. It's worth the watch, especially if you're at that age. But I like Powder. Sean Flannery told you it was his butt. God, that guy, he got puffy. But I like some Sean Patrick Flannery. And I enjoyed the original Jeepers Creepers. Because I try my best to say that, you know, you've served your sentence, and they give you another shot. But quit making shit about kids. Just, like, I get they're the niche for horror because they don't have the IQ, not the IQ, but the experience of adults, and they're a little bit on the wanting for adventure themselves as an age group. And there's little things that he did to make it more interesting, like not really having a set time frame for it. Like there's no new vehicles in the Jeepers Creepers movies. It's kind of timeless in a way. Like you'll have significantly older vehicles from the 50s and brand new vehicles from the 60s. But the 50s cars are beat up enough to look like they're from like current times. But then also like the cars from the 60s were taken care enough to look like they could be from that time now. So it's very, very weird time frame. And they don't use cell phones, and
having cell phones kinds of ruins most suspense plots.
Yeah, and that's why in the first one they had a dead cell phone. But yeah, when you can call a parent, it's kind of fucks with everything.
Yeah, and nowadays having a dead cell phone is too much for suspension of disbelief.
It really is. Like my dad always had a dead cell phone. I mean, like Dad, you can charge those things, you know.
No, back in the day, the batteries were like 4 or 5 times as big and lasted a quarter as long because those things sucked down juice like nobody's business.
My mom's first cell phone stayed plugged into the car the entire time. Like it was a car phone. It was about the size of a laptop bag.
Yeah. And then they came out with the Zach Morris Special, whose model name I can never remember.
Yeah.
The Brick.
Yeah, well, he had the newer version of the brick with the fold down mouthpiece. There was a whole brick. He got the half brick. Or did he have the whole brick?
He had the whole brick.
No. Oh, just made a weird noise inside my body.
And then it was back when, you know, making a cell phone call was a big deal because they cost about $900 each.
Mm. I watched a TikTok the other day that it was more about the sneaky Dr. Fauci getting the shot, but it ended up just revolving around a payphone for like no reason. And the comments about the payphone were way more than the comments about Dr. Fauci. It's like, man, I cannot think of the last time I saw a payphone. Oh, well, good luck with that, Black Magic. Buy another one, you fucking weirdo. Leaves the phone out. I go to bed charging my phone. Like, I charge my phone and I usually play like night sounds or something on it. So I don't know how somebody could leave their phone out in the rain all night. Well, I mean, somebody responsible. I understand how you can do it. All right, so what do we have for fucking topics? Oh, Enrique Tarrio got 5 months in jail, not prison, jail, for his part in the shenanigans of not being part of January 6th because he got arrested beforehand. But I did find out that, all right, so he got charged with 2 counts of carrying a magazine that was too many bullets.
But no gun.
No, they were Proud Boy magazines with Proud Boy on them. And first off, don't ever do that. But he was meeting somebody. It was going to be at January 6th, and they were not from DC. He's not from DC. They flew in, and that's that story. So the Proud Boys and set fire to a Black Lives Matter flag. That's what he got arrested for. Did you know that?
I vaguely remember that, yeah.
Okay. Did you know that flag was stolen from a church?
I did not know that.
Okay. So, and this is actually, I have different feelings about this. If that flag had been stolen from Antifa, you know, Black Lives Matter, I'd be like, man, who gives a fuck? But the fact that they took it down from a church kind of irks me.
Yeah, that's not a good look.
Yeah. Like, you stole from a church. Like never mind the fact that what it said. And there's actually a church I drive by that has a Black Lives Matter sign. And I watched it for like weeks because it's right there. And I'm like, if I was going to put up a Trump like thing like this close to the road, 10 feet back, I would have nail strips. Because if somebody was douchey enough to run over my Trump thing, I want them to pop their tires.
Didn't Michael Schlecht like cover something like that up in his neck of the woods, where somebody had something like that?
Black Lives Matter?
No, well, it was something like that. It was like Black Lives Matter or pro something or other that got destroyed and got like lit on fire or something. It was like a hoax hate thing, but he was like the one that was actually physically closest to it, so he was running the info gathering for Matt. This was like a year ago.
No, I don't remember. Well, I'm just saying, I don't put Trump stuff on my car because the people who are anti-Trump are pussy enough to mess with my car.
Right. I mean, there's lots of pro-Trump stuff around here because it's safe, for the most part. But there's also a lot of, fools putting, like, coexist and Biden bullshit on their cars, too. So, I mean...
I'm a coexist fan, technically.
Civil out here is really what it boils down to. Or what really boils down to is there's a prevalence of enough Trump supporters that anybody who would screw with them would be afraid of getting caught. Because let's not fake the funk. Trump supporters don't really give a shit if you've got a Biden sticker, but Biden supporters sure as hell give a rat's ass if you've got a Trump sticker, and would definitely do something. If they could, they absolutely would.
Yep. 100%. But like, my only issue is the nail strip is I have to move it every time I mow the lawn. But other than that, it's just 6 feet twice. Like, take the piece of lumber, move it 6 feet, mow that area, move it back. But yeah, I live in a very Trumpian neighborhood, but I work in Knoxville, which is not so much Trumpian in nature.
It's more Trumpian than a lot of places in this country.
It's less Trumpian than a lot of places in this country.
No, that's true.
Like I said, as I drive by, the churches have Black Lives Matter.
Well, maybe that's just because they don't want to be burnt down.
That's not a Knoxville thing, man. We don't do that. As a Knoxvillian, no, I am not Knoxvillian, but yeah, just eventually we had high winds and it tore up the sign, and that day, and it happened on a Wednesday, because I had seen it on a Tuesday and it was fine, because I was like, maybe if I swerved a little I could get it, and the next day there were news vans there, and that's when they all found out, it's just torn by wind, sorry about there's no hate crime here, you can go. And that's how Knoxville isn't the Trumpianist place in the country. Because in LA, when you throw a bucket of white paint on a Trump sign, they call it bird shit. Like, no, that was probably a full seagull. Yeah, no, it was just one seagull shit on the Trump side, and that's where that came from. Case closed, no vandalism.
Well, that's why I appreciate, and it's highly illegal, and I don't recommend anybody do this, but that guy that wired up his Trump banner for sound, and then caught the
for
neighbor.
Sound?
Well, for electricity. And then caught his neighbor trying to on video trying to gank it.
Yeah, that is hilarious. I saw that and that fucking.
I'm like, fuck around and find out.
I also like the ones that are like up close to the house, and on the other side is like 14 mouse traps. So like going up the sides and the top is all mouse traps. So when you go to grab the sign by the sides, and mouse traps. I'm like, that's fucking hilarious, and I want one so bad.
Yeah, booby traps are frowned upon by the authorities.
Not that booby trap though.
The electrical one is probably less damaging because it just wakes you up. You're really in no danger. The fuse will blow before you actually get anywhere close to dying. But the mousetrap one could do bodily harm, so that might get you in trouble.
I don't think so. I don't think so. But yeah, you're right. It could snap. So yeah, there's that. Don't want you to have swollen fingers when you're trying to molest the child because you're a Biden supporter and they're all pedos.
Well, and they're typically weaker and frailer than the average man, so
Booty traps?
This girl on TikTok, because I TikTok. Do you guys TikTok? I TikTok.
Occasionally peruse.
Gorgeous girl, and she's a. It was accidental. I didn't mean to follow her. Like, apparently, I thought she said something clever, so I followed her because she was really hot. And she was an idiot instead. She works at a clothing boutique, and she asked. Someone came up with a shirt, said, "Is this made in China?" And they said, "Yeah, it's really well made, but it's made in China." And she said, "I hate China." And she goes, "And the Lord said to me, don't do nothing because you don't need to get fired today. Because I don't like racism." I'm like, that's not racist to hate China. It's racist to hate the Chinese, because Chinese is a race. China, not a race. Don't, like, you're pretty, but you're stupid. And that makes you pretty stupid.
I see what you did there, and I appreciate it.
She did not. Even though she liked 2 of the 3 comments I left her. Well, the first one was explaining to her, China's not it's not a state, or it's a state. It's not a race. And then I explained to her what they've done to the Uyghurs, to the point where they've sold the organs of a group of people, a religion of people they've enslaved. And then my third one was, very pretty, but you're dumb. That makes you pretty dumb. So the one about it's not a race I got, and then the one about the what they did the Muslims got a like, but the pretty dumb one did not get a like. And they were all 3 together, like one after another, because you only get 150 characters for fucking TikTok. Oh, a woman can be hot as fuck, Steven. You'll learn that one day when you're not gay. But she was not bright. Cute girl, but not bright.
That girl ain't right.
She's going to make somebody a nice second wife.
I said that girl ain't right in the head.
Yeah, she's not right in the head. Yeah, it amazes me, like, somebody quick to point out racism or quick to point out, like, colonization. It's like, everyone does it, except for Italy, except for when Italy did it in the first place. Like, Spain conquered everything in South America. That's why they speak Spanish. And the places that they didn't get in Spain, Portugal got. There's a reason they speak English in India, because England got to them. Like, we went from there, here, and stopped colonizing.
Well, I mean, we did take over the whole continent.
No, we bought the whole continent.
Yeah, from France.
What are you talking about, man? No, we bought it. Louisiana Purchase? Anybody? That's the thing. Manhattan?
Well, Manhattan, that was purchased. The rest
Apparently, there's some shenanigans about Oklahoma that hasn't gotten solved. No, China had to give up their interest in TikTok, and it's now owned by a Chinese company, which China owns, so it's completely different. Thank you, Donald Trump. We also gave Liberia to our freed slaves. Nice.
Oh, we tried to. None of them wanted to go.
Yeah, I wonder why.
They had a little bit of a problem getting on the boat.
Yeah, just a smidge. Come on, this is voluntary.
It's going back the other way. Come on. Yeah, no thanks. It's kind of why they're still hesitant about the vaccine today.
Well, that and the that whole debacle with the Tuskegee Airmen, right, Joe Biden?
Jesus Christ. Just because it shares a name doesn't mean it's the same thing, Joe.
Dave Bautista wants buddy cop movie with Jason Momoa. Sure, if it's like the Barbarians movie with the Paul brothers.
Can Dave Bautista just quit?
He's not that bad.
I really don't like him in anything I've seen him in.
He was funny as Drax, being a fucking idiot.
No, I still didn't like him.
Fair enough.
The closest thing I liked him in was in Blade Runner 2049. And he dies. Spoiler alert.
Nice.
Somehow Ryan Gosling beats him in a fist fight. For what that's worth.
Oh, yeah, you totally expect that.
Yeah.
Actually, you do, because Ryan Gosling's a little psychopath. He went to school after watching Terminator 2, and he brought a backpack full of knives and flung it at fellow students.
Okay.
What do we have for fucking topics? Let's see.
Well, we really haven't talked about Australia.
I mean, that's the reason for that. All right, you give us the scoop on the Australia.
Well, I mean, they're building detention camps, concentration camps, if you will, a place to concentrate the sick. You know, the threats. You concentrate them into one area, and since you're humane, you have to build them a facility to contain them. So it's camp. Because the COVID quarantine hotels weren't working, so now it's just a camp. They're literally building the Thunderdome.
Well, you gotta like give context to it. Okay, so as everybody knows, Australia is not a free country. They had a mandatory gun buyback program where you had to give them your guns, and they now have a mandatory vaccine program where you have to get vaccinated.
That's not exactly true. They will always state that legally it is not mandated. They just won't let you do anything unless you can prove you've been vaccinated. This is what's insidious. They will not mandate that you get the shot, but you will not get any benefits. You are not allowed to leave your house. You're not allowed to have a job. You are not allowed to collect a paycheck unless you prove that you're vaccinated. But it's not mandated. They go out of their way to explain it's not mandated. But you just can't do anything if you're not vaccinated. They also have no rights in Australia. Literally not codified rights, because it is an example of what happens in the purest form of democracy, in that it's the tyranny of the majority. They do not care what rights you claim to have. They are always subservient to the will of the majority. And right now, they've intentionally whipped up their majority to be afraid of COVID. Therefore, anything along those lines is just and good because it is what the majority wants.
Still only at 29% fully vaccinated.
There's a reason for that too. They have more than enough vaccine to give everyone in the country a vaccine, make them fully vaccinated, plus 2 or 3 boosters for every soul in the country. The problem is it's the AstraZeneca vaccine. And the problem with that is that when this whole vaccine thing started, Pfizer was first to market and lobbied officials in Australia, New Zealand, and Europe to badmouth AstraZeneca and say, nope, it's Pfizer or nothing. So there's tons of documentation, official government documentation from the EU member states, Australia, and New Zealand that says AstraZeneca is no good, don't get it. But that's what they have.
I fucking hate politics. So what's with the 25,000 kids?
I haven't heard the story about the kids. I have heard the story about the dogs. And the fact that they don't go John Wick over the dogs, A, they don't have the firearms to do it, but interestingly, neither do their police. Their police are unarmed as well. So you would think that eventually mobs would overwhelm the gang, the organized governmental-backed gang that is the police.
Trying to find it, and I can't seem to locate this story. Dissociative identity disorder. A woman created 2,500 personalities to survive. I don't think so. I don't think that's it at all. Nope. Let's try 25,000.
Come on, man.
Any restrictions on 80% vaccination could cause 25,000 Australian deaths. That's not what I was looking for either. Stolen generations, not what I was looking for. Wow. Okay, so this one has a picture of her, the woman who created 2,500 personalities. She looks exactly what you would think somebody who created 2,500 personalities would look like.
I don't know what that means.
Red hair in a poorly cut way and problematic glasses.
Ah, yes. A little bit overweight, I'm assuming.
A little bit of a chunky monkey.
Uh-huh.
William Peterson from CSI fame, hospitalized after falling ill on set.
I still don't know who that is.
Fucking Gil Grissom.
Okay. That tells me who that actor is. I don't know his real name because I don't care.
Wow. All right. Globally today, 40,000 cases confirmed in the U.S., 185 deaths across the world.
Boy, that Delta variant.
In general, if you get a group of 100,000 people together, somebody dies.
Doesn't even take that
Hell.
much.
Well, I'm saying in general, if you get 100,000 people in a group, somebody dies. There were deaths at the pipeline. They found bodies. January 6th had somebody just die. Like the kind of shit happens. And they're trying to make it like this precious, precious thing when people have to be more conscious of what's going on than not. Next time you go to like a sports event, which I don't recommend ever doing, there's a reason there's so many motherfuckers there working for the venue and not for to see the game, is because they understand shit happens. You don't need a death every time some event happens.
Airlines that hold about 100 or more people have protocols for when somebody dies in flight.
Mm-hmm.
They have a place to put the corpse or a policy on how to arrange the corpse to keep everybody else calm in the event that somebody dies aboard a flight. Yeah, people just drop dead anywhere and everywhere. And it's sad, don't get me wrong. But it's part of life.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's the end of life anyway.
Yeah, it's the end bit, but it is part of it.
Mm-hmm. It is. Undoubtedly. Now that we've gone on the roast.
If we've only had 180, what's that? 180 deaths?
186.
186
globally today.
Globally in one day.
Mm-hmm.
I wonder what the average rate of death is for the pre-COVID flu.
Well, if you look at flu numbers of deaths this time last year for North America, or for Northern Hemisphere, none, because it's the fucking middle of summer. Respiratory illnesses are a winter thing.
Well, I mean, half the globe is in winter right now. Australia, New Zealand, all of South America, it's winter.
Which, I don't know if you've ever experienced a South American winter. They're not bad.
Well, it depends on where you are in South America.
They're not bad if you're not on a mountaintop.
If you're in southern Brazil or Uruguay or Paraguay or South Argentina, it's probably pretty fucking cold.
Cold, yeah, but they don't get snow.
Yeah, they do.
I mean,
Patagonia is. Patagonia is a region in Argentina, in southern Argentina.
You want to try again?
What am I thinking?
No, you're right. It's just doubting.
It's Argentina. Now, the West Coast doesn't get a whole lot of snow because it's a desert. The driest desert on the planet, as a matter of fact. But the interior does. It snowed in Rio before.
Yeah, it snowed in Phoenix before.
True. Once every couple of years. Yes, Black Magic, there are ski areas in South America, but those are actually in the mountains where you would expect snow to be. But there's regions of South America that are pretty much identical to the US of A, just based on latitude. They just happen to be flip-flopped with the seasons because they're in the southern hemisphere.
And they're usually mountainous.
Usually. I mean, well, the same can be said for America. The plains see some snow, but it's really the mountains that get it.
Mm-hmm.
Or the other
Well,
side of the lakes.
Michigan gets snow,
Right,
and
but it's literally between two lakes. Three lakes, actually.
okay, fine. Wisconsin, they
Wisconsin
only got
gets...
the one.
Well, they're also South Canada, so there you go.
Yeah, well, so is Michigan, but Michigan's actually North Canada in some areas.
In some areas, yeah. South of Detroit is actually Windsor.
Yeah, so basically all of Michigan is north of Canada.
At least some part of Canada, yes.
Mm-hmm. I was just saying it's relatively flat, which, by the way, helps with snow.
Yeah, ask Buffalo about snow.
I've never like called off work before for snow, even when it's like 2 feet. It's like, oh, I'll get there. But I wouldn't do that here in Tennessee. Half an inch of snow and it's fucking dangerous.
Because it melts and then refreezes.
It doesn't even need to melt. It's still dangerous. But what else do we have for topics? Because fuck Australia. Got bored, stopped watching the show last night. So I didn't get to see the Strangelove fuckfest.
Yeah, I can sum it up real good for you here. Hang on. Hated it.
Hated it. What? Who got the?
Hang on a second. I got a kid asking me a question. One sec.
Mm-hmm. Did Buffalo 10 to 12 feet like over the winter or at one time? Because right now there's flooding in New York subways as Cuomo leaves, which I'm guessing tears of joy. Or Tropical Storm Henry, one or the other, I'm not sure. What, which one is it? Could be a little either or.
Well, I know drifts can easily get to 10 to 12 feet in Buffalo, but I don't know.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Just straight snowfall. 3 to 5 feet I could see easy for a lake effect storm.
Yeah, so let's wait for breaking news. Breaking news. Dun, dun, dun. Breaking news.
We can talk about the Black Republican cat fight.
But I'm waiting for breaking news. You could talk about the Black Republican cat fight. I don't give a shit about Candace Owens.
Yeah, well, I don't give a shit about either of them, really, but apparently Kim Klacik is suing Candace Owens for $20 million. $20 million.
Million.
For defamation. And that's really the sum total of the story. But, yeah, basically, Black Republican cat fight. There can be only one.
Oh, today is the last day of Andy Cuomo.
That was yesterday, wasn't it? He's like officially out. Oh, and speaking of dogs, I heard he left his dog behind.
No, August 23rd. It marks last day in office.
Oh, today?
Yeah.
Yeah. There were stories out today that he left the dog behind in the mansion.
What kind of dog did he have?
Sort of a husky-ish looking thing, I believe.
Ooh.
Just Google Cuomo's dog. It'll show up, I'm sure.
Well, let's see this here real quick. Cuomo? dog. No, not Cuomo's dong.
Oh wow!
Apparently, its name's
Homosexuals
Captain.
are still a thing, I guess, huh?
Cold-hearted Cuomo ditches his dog at governor's mansion. Cuomo left his dog Captain behind when he moved out. Holy shit! It's actually a very pretty husky. But I mean, he is out of touch.
Oh my god.
Lauren Southern?
Chen. The other Canadian Lauren. Roaming Mill.
Yeah, what about her?
Fauci is Italian. Cuomo is Italian. Coincidence? Maybe. Maybe not.
What's she defending?
I'm not sure. But
Because I got some shit to talk about China.
Wouldn't say that Fauci is Italian.
Fugazi is Italian. Poet, I know you're from Michigan, where people also don't know how to drive in the snow. Because I say that every time I drive in the snow. Fauci's a little Italian. I don't know if he's full Italian. Just a tiny little fucker.
I could have swore he was the chosen people's.
There's a strong possibility of that. Hold on, let's look him up. Because Italian can do that too. Anthony Fauci, early life.
Here's a matching news article.
Doesn't need Wikipedia for Anthony Fauci. I'll get it to myself. Wikipedia. Physician, scientist, immunologist, hasn't served anybody in over 50 years. Yarda, yarda, yarda. Physician, yarda. Early life and education, yarda. Brooklyn, New York, yarda. Physician. Diker Heights. It's not looking good. Fauci's mother and sister worked as a pharmacy register. So, that's not... grandparents immigrated from Italy. Okay, Naples.
So he is Italian.
Swiss-born. Grew up Catholic.
Okay.
Now considers himself a humanist. Bachelor Arts degree, pre-med track, Cornell. Completed his residency in internal medicine. In 1968, Fauci, out of curiosity, watched a protest against the Vietnam War. During that time, Fauci held a dim view of anti-war movement, later saying, "I have a real problem with Jane Fonda. Having taken her picture with the Viet Cong. She may be a great actress, but she really pissed me off." Fauci married Christine Grady, a nurse and biochemist at the National Institute of Health after they met while treating a patient. They have 3 daughters. They have 3 daughters younger than me. Not surprising. So the dude's born in... He was 45 before he started having children.
How old is he now?
Fauci?
Yeah.
So he's born in 40, so 80-ish one. Born in 40 on December 24th, so the day before Christmas. He was a gift. 80 years old.
What is with the boomers? Well, I guess that makes him pre-boomer, but why can't these fuckers retire?
Mm-hmm. Well, he's making $450 a year.
Highest paid government employee.
Well, make no mistake, that position isn't the highest in government office. It's
Highest
close though.
It's highest paid.
It's not the highest paid.
What is?
President.
No.
Yes.
President only makes 400,000.
Yes. But the president doesn't get an increase yearly. He got a 2% increase yearly, and he's been there 40 fucking years. That's how he makes 470,000 a year or whatever. He's almost doubled his entire fucking life, or his entire paycheck. But it should be. I mean, you're a medical doctor. You went through 8 years and hassle of school. And you should be, it should be a position in which somebody worth doing the job would be interested in that job, as opposed to somebody who is on the cusp of losing their medical license and is hiding out at the job until he can go back to medically malpracticing you to death.
I mean, the guys, you need a medical degree to be proficient in doing that job, but the job itself is a bureaucratic position. He's more bureaucrat than doctor.
She said the same thing about every officer in the military.
And do.
They're more bureaucrat than soldier.
I agree with that. Once you get past captain, it's all politics and bullshit. Bureaucracy.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'll give props to lieutenants and captains for having to deal with this shit.
Don't. I'll give a
down.
grenade to their lap. I'll frag a lieutenant. Anything that happens ever, you never need anything above an NCO. And in fact, you could pretty much stop at an NCO. Unless you're steering a fucking ship or raiding a military base. Because it's ridiculous. Just pass it up the chain. I don't give a shit. I like you people. I thought I had something to bitch about. I do not remember. I don't remember.
We can bitch about how Boris Johnson and Macron and Merkel are bitching about Biden, and they're not wrong.
Oh, well, I mean, we can cover their bitching, but it's not really my bitching. I remember what it was. Feds investigate a shooting on Fed property by Fed. Feds investigate clear Feds of any wrongdoing.
Yeah, that's just not news at all.
Yeah, they cleared Ashley Babbitt for like the third time. They cleared the Ashley Babbitt shooting again.
Still no name on that guy.
I'm pretty sure it's Mike Bird.
Right. We've got it down to like 99%, but without an admission.
Did Owen Schroyer turn himself in?
Huh? Who?
I'm seeing if Owen Schroyer turned himself in.
Well, he's out now. I mean, he got arrested, 2 days ago? Friday? But I saw a blurb from Probiotic today that said he was out.
Did he? I could have sworn on Friday there was the thing for his arrest, and he was going to turn himself in Monday.
I'm fairly certain I saw a tweet from Pasobic that said he was out. Let's see here.
Here it is. Wait, no, that's different. InfoWars Harso and Schreier will turn himself in to the FBI later today over the allegations. He's already been charged in August 2019 over something. Yeah, wrong thing.
How much nonsense did he put out this evening? Good Lord.
The War Room with Owen Schroyer. Apparently he hasn't turned himself in yet.
Like, Owen Schroyer and Jack Pasobic are guys I kind of appreciate, but mostly just cringe at.
Well, yeah, because he's military intelligence, which means officer. That, and he spent his honeymoon in Israel. The hell kind of honeymoon is that? Yeah, dress light, baby. We're gonna go to the desert for our honeymoon. Who the fuck picks a desert to honeymoon and or live?
I got married in Vegas.
That's where you got married. I'm worried about you moving there to live.
We literally switched deserts to get married. We went from the Sonoran to the Mojave. Yeah. Here it is, 5 hours ago. Owen Schroyer has been released from federal custody.
From 6 hours ago that he was still turning himself in. What the fuck? So in an hour?
And they process him post bail and leave.
Well, it makes sense if he, because that's what I would do in my home state. So I'm not getting fucking spending half a year in jail or prison technically, because you don't. They transfer you for custody cases. Oh, you can do jail maybe if it's a small enough area, like prison, not close. If you get arrested on a Tuesday, you spend the night locally. If you get arrested on a Friday, there's a chance that you could go to the local jail. If you get put for indefinite periods, and they don't have a county jail nearby, you could end up spending the weekend in a prison. Depends on what part of the country you're from.
I was going to say, here, you don't want to spend any time in county jail or not. It's almost worse than the actual prison.
Mm-hmm. Just a wholly disappointing experience. 10 out of 10, do not recommend.
Oh, God.
What?
Well, at least Jack's smart enough to point this out. So there's a tweet from somebody that says, Brophy College Prep is an esteemed all-male Jesuit high school in Phoenix. Tuition is basically $17,000 a year.
Jesuits.
Exactly what Probiotic said. And yeah, I swam against Brophy when I was out here, and they are... it is an elite school, that's for sure, but Jesuits.
Pope's a Jesuit.
Even the Mormons didn't like him.
Well, Mormons. Insular. Not that they don't like anybody, but...
Oh, man, Mormons make fantastic neighbors. I don't know what you're talking about.
I wish there were some Mormons here. I could go for some canning tips. So, the Pope, Jesuit, clear that up right now.
Which one?
Current.
Okay.
is
Well, technically,
got the vaccine.
there's two current popes.
No, there's one current pope and one former pope, which is not a thing.
And actually, that's not the official title.
Yeah, it's not a thing. There's no former pope. There was previous popes.
Well, there's a literal position in the Coptic Church that is titled pope, but in the Roman Catholic Church, there is no official pope. It's the Vicar of Christ, Bishop of Rome.
Yeah. Anyways, you don't retire from that position. You die from that position. You get called up to the next level. Pulled from the minors into the majors, if you were. Anyway, so this fucking bag of shit, because Jesuit, took the vaccine and mentioned you should get the vaccine and forgave the vaccine for being created out of stem cells. He's like, perfectly fine. That's God's will right there. Doing the right thing. Killing them babies and using them for stem cells.
Well, I mean, he is leading a rapidly diminishing organization that used to have worldwide control. So, I mean, he's got to get with the times, get hip, and sell it.
I don't like him. I do not like him at all. Man, all the stuff going on, I got nothing for stories.
Yeah, it's just because the world's falling apart and none of it's fun to talk about.
Mm-hmm. Basically, that's about it. Anybody got any topics? Black magic, huh? Want our take on something?
I bet you he wants to fight you in real life.
Oh, good point.
Why'd Swampy bail out and not come back?
Oh, he said he's come back, but that was before he got home. After he got home, probably things changed.
Oh, you know what? He bailed out just before the time.
Yeah.
He's big timing us tonight is what he's doing. Betcha. Although he should be back by now if that were true.
Yeah. Maybe his prisoner escaped. Now he's got to go find his fiance.
Yeah, he's got some coon dogs.
It's a possibility. Let's see, what else do we nothing fun happening on Twitter. Oh, Hazley's breastfeeding photos. That's something I don't give a fuck about. Who shames people while they're breastfeeding? Because apparently that's something a lot of people get shamed over. I want to know who does that. Anybody
if I ever
call
saw
out
it, if I ever saw somebody shaming a mother for feeding her child, I'd lay into them.
Yeah.
Like, right there on the spot.
Agreed. Like who does that?
I have no idea. Can you dig it? Can you?
That's Garrick fighting you. I was like, oh, yeah, technically, this happened. Steven made a comment about she's still topless but nippleless. Oh, Monda Clark right now. Put some nipples on it. That's another thing. TikTok is like oddly nippled. Like apparently everyone on TikTok has no bras and really good air conditioning. And they always make comments about, like, I've never pointed out that I could see somebody's nipples except once. and it was in swim class, and I saw a nipple. So I walked over to the girl, and I said, adjust your top because your nipple's poking out. And she said, oh my God, thank you. One time in my entire life. And that was because I could see the actual nipple, and the boys were snarking. They were literally I can see a nipple about it. Not, you're not wearing a bra and I can see your nipples. She knows that as well as everybody else. She doesn't care. I don't care. But if you're wearing a teeny bikini and your nipples poking out of the side, I'm going to let you know that it's happening. Not that I'm offended by it.
Right.
Who are these people? Who are these people who are saying she shouldn't have been dressed like that to the woman who got raped? I believe you shouldn't be dressed like that. I don't say that. But I also carry a 1.5 pounds of gun with me everywhere I go to stop something like that. Not happening to me, because I'm not pretty enough to get raped.
Well, a boy can dream, Jay. Hold on to your dream.
If I use that gun improperly, I'll be the one crying about getting raped. I am for victim blaming. If the victim is female, I'm just kidding. Stupid. Absolutely, it is the fault of the aggressor, not the victim. But also, in most cases, the victim has something they could have done to prevent what happened. Whether it's an attitude, like at no point did a rapist rape you because of what you were wearing. It was the stupidity of what you were doing that caused the rape. It wasn't your extra short skirt that couldn't stop them. It wasn't your ankle showing that stopped them. Something you were doing that caused them to do it. It was your stupidity. I've lectured my friends my entire life about the dangers of basically anything after midnight. And it's after 10 p.m. But I was talking to a group of 17-year-old girls in my early 30s, by the way, and warning them about these dangers. And one of the girls took it very much to heart. And she wasn't going to go to her friend's house, where I actually gave the lecture, because it's too late at night and too dangerous. So the girl at the house that I gave the lecture to said she will walk to her house to pick her up to walk back, giving her twice the exposure. It's like, you were stupid. She is smart. And then I proceeded to beat the hell out of both of them the next day. I took my glasses off and I pinned them both to the ground simultaneously. And she was like, well, I knew this was going to happen. But her other friend fought the whole time, thinking it wouldn't happen. And the dad, who is a county sheriff, laughed the entire time. Like, what did you expect? He's 1.5 feet taller than you and outweighs you and 2 other of your girlfriends. Like, running is the appropriate response. Do that. Just fucking do that. Camilla, don't libertarian feminists criticize the way women dress. I don't think libertarians criticize that, but libertarians have gotten weird lately. What was that? Was that one libertarian who? What the hell did she do? Was it pronouns or something? Forced pronouns?
That was Joe Jorgensen, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah. Camille Paglia.
Yeah, well, Joe Jorgensen and anybody who voted for her is exactly why nobody takes the Libertarian Party seriously.
Oh, did you watch the Timcast the other day with the two libertarians from the Mises Caucus?
I saw one clip from that show. I can't sit through the entire thing. The one guy in the normal guest chair was just would not shut his goddamn mouth. Literally talking over everybody.
He wasn't wrong though. Like
He could have been 100% right. He didn't know how to hold a conversation.
yeah. He was overbearing, but probably the most coherent and likable libertarian I've ever experienced. The other guy, kind of a weirdo, but apparently like a founding member, and it's a pretty good representation for libertarians as opposed to like Austin Peterson stripping down.
I did kind of like how he was talking about how the Mises Caucus doesn't have a stance on open borders versus closed borders because it's not an important point if you're trying to build a coalition. But anybody who is quote unquote a libertarian and cares about property rights and is also open borders is a fucking crazy person that doesn't know what the fuck they're talking about.
Agreed. I don't see the disconnect, but I guess maybe I don't know the story behind it.
I mean, I get the freedom of movement thing that leads to the open borders thing, and I also get but a state isn't a real construct sort of thing. But if laws can be applicable in one place and 5 feet away they're not, that's a property boundary. And property is sacrosanct to libertarians.
I don't see how you can argue taxation is theft and then argue against a border.
Well, I can see how you could argue against a border if you think taxation is theft, because the border contains the area of theft.
Okay, then what pays for everything if it's not a tariff?
No, believe me, I'm more on the taxation is theft bandwagon than not. But I'm also a believer in authoritative boundaries and, to some extent, communal property, that enhances the lives of everybody who's within it. There are taxes that make sense, such as a sales tax because you choose to participate.
Mm-hmm.
Tariffs are fine if you're importing and exporting amongst different demographic regions that have different laws and different needs. That's fine. I'm not a fan of property tax.
It's
basically,
you can never own your property if there's property tax.
Correct. You never truly own your property. And I'm desperately against income tax, because income tax is nothing but theft.
Income tax is a fine to productivity.
Yes.
What was this state is a social construct thing? I'm not a fan of social construct arguments at all, because society is a social construct. So go fuck yourself. But what's the specifics of it?
Well, the state being a social construct?
Yeah.
It's an agreed upon region wherein authority is granted to something other than the self for the purpose of a quote-unquote common good, or common... I don't like saying common good because good is never really... Good is completely arbitrary in this place. Common...
Understanding.
Well, it's not good. It's common use.
It's a common understanding.
Yeah.
Like, it's agreed upon.
Right. Like, when I was going through my hardcore libertarian phase many years ago, I would argue with people that the laws shouldn't apply to me because I didn't have a say in them. I literally inherited all the laws that I live under. How is that democratic?
Because you were allowed to be born into those laws. Those laws protected you to the birth. And now you're responsible for following them.
Yeah, but if in a perfect libertarian self-ruling world, all of those laws should have an expiry date that has to be renewed, allowing the new populace to consent or decline.
Fuck you and Thomas Jefferson. I don't care for this state as a social... The social construct argument is stupid because anything that isn't an object is a social construct. Time, which is a very real thing to every living creature on this planet, still a goddamn social construct.
It's also been one that has been heavily defined and refined over time, which is recursive, but it is what it is.
Yeah. Like, we argue about daylight savings time, but time is not only a social contract, it's a social contract.
Yes. Literally, it was devised to... Well, the concept of kept time was designed by the church, mind you, so that you prayed at the right time of day.
Mm-hmm.
Clocks came out of the Catholic Church. Pardon me.
Yeah, and they were responsible for the bells, which is how original time went. 3 bells past breakfast, or 3 bells past sunrise, 2 bells to sunset, all a thing. And it is a construct, and it's very fucking handy. Like, the only thing that's not an object that isn't a social construct is gravity. I mean, like, the argument that something is a social construct, usually it's from the poly community about marriage and monogamy. But boo! Fuck you! You're boring and I don't like you.
Look, social constructs are a thing. They exist.
Yes!
And they exist because, much like stereotypes, they're useful in making your life easier by offloading the work of having to figure everything the fuck out every fucking second of your life.
That and colloquial, where common terminology. Like, everyone understands soda pop, Coke are all the same basic genre of drink.
Soft drinks.
Yes. So when someone comes in violating the social construct with wanting a fizzy bubbler, they should be put to death. Get them. But social constructs are just easy. They're not holding you down.
They serve a purpose.
Yeah.
That's and the critical theorists, no matter what flavor you want to label them with, du jour, de yearly, or de annum, or whatever you want to call it, critical theory always has the same fucking problem, is they're trying to break those down because they don't like what they mean and they feel constricted by them. They are constricted by them. They serve a purpose for the vast majority of humanity.
But they're social constructs. They're not laws for the most part. Like monogamy, there's nothing wrong with having 3 girlfriends or 3 boyfriends in a legal sense. And up until Clinton, in a marital sense. Thanks, Bill.
You're going to blame Bill for that?
Yeah.
Why?
The gay should blame Bill for that, too. He defined marriage.
Well, the social construct of the day defined the marriage.
No, he legally defined marriage.
Correct. There's a difference, though. That's a legal framework, not
yes,
a social construct.
That's a social construct that is backed by guns.
And legality. It transcended merely being a social construct into being codified law, which is exactly what the trans community is trying to do. They're trying to take a social construct and turn it on its head and try to make a legal framework out of it.
I'm against that.
If you believe that gender is a social construct.
It's not.
Sex is not a social construct.
And neither is gender.
Sure it is.
Gender is your sex.
No, gender is meaningless. It can mean anything. It's irrelevant. That's why your driver's license doesn't say gender, it says sex. And when somebody tries to say that they're of a different chromosomal pattern than what they are lying on a legal document.
No. Sex is male. Sex is female. Those are the sexes. The genders are that female is a she. That male is a he. That's the genders. It's the term used for the sex. Gender.
They're arbitrary and meaningless.
No, they're not. They're very they have very strict meanings.
They're literally shorthand for sex. Male, female. Okay, we know. Moving on.
Yes. So in a event situation such as a catastrophic event, you can say grab her.
Correct.
By the legs. Not grab this female by the legs.
Correct.
The lady in the red coat. Those are genders, not sexes.
They're both. I mean, they're shorthand for the sex.
Yeah, that's what a gender is.
It doesn't. Well, okay. So here's the thing. You're at a catastrophic event.
Yes.
And unbeknownst to you, a trap has fallen ill and you need to perform some sort of medical procedure on said trap. You're going to use...
functioning trap.
Yeah.
Pretty. Big boobs. Long hair.
Yeah.
Sexy.
Yeah.
Okay,
a
go on.
shim, for all intents and purposes. A presenting female shim. You're going to refer to that person with their presentative
There's actually a rule in place.
What's that?
51%.
Which is what?
51%.
51% of what?
If you think somebody is more than likely a gender, you call them by that gender.
Correct.
Hello.
Goodbye.
Hey. That's rude.
But my point is that you are technically wrong in calling that person a she, but you're going to do it. And therefore, that gendered language is irrelevant to getting done what you need to get done.
And in this context, my she means the long hair, the boobs, and all that leg.
Correct.
Mm-hmm. And if you're a what the fuck, the nut waxer from Geneve, Yenef.
Yenef.
Was that?
Yeah.
Yeah. That to him, whether or not they're wearing a shirt that says "I identify as a female."
No, I agree with you.
And I am legally obligated for him, no matter what. Because within my structural framework of emergency services, 51%. Because if he's huddling with the mom he rapes, well, I know that's Chris Chan. And I say grab him, they're going to take him before they take her. And that's just fuck social constructs. They're conflating, and they conflate all the time. Like gender can be fluid. Not really, but I'll give you that. If you want to be called by female pronouns, gender related, that's a thing. But your sex is 100% quantifiable. XX, XY, and a couple of variations that still don't count. Like X, YY.
That's exceedingly rare. It's usually XXY.
Yeah, but XYY
really is weird cases, triple XY.
Yeah, but XYY is just you're kind of lanky. Like it lends to lanky thinness and I think insomnia or something. Anyway, but like you're not going to be able to tell XY from XYY. So yeah, that didn't count. And if you get enough X's and Y's together, you're just a primordial blob.
Right. I'm not.
So,
I think that the problem is with social constructs is people take them too far. They're shorthand. They're useful. You should use them and stop bitching about them.
Yeah.
Yes,
like
a
at
state
a point
is a social construct, which is where this all started from. Yes, a state is a social construct, but it's useful for the people who are within them.
Okay, now is consent a social construct? Because the law enforced by guns. Ultimately, because everything law is enforced with guns. So, is consent a social construct?
It is. But it's also something that you can do independently. So,
and it's also a law.
The law is like third order of effect here. The law is just something that we protect and enshrine because it's useful. It's like the third level of a social construct that comes with it with punishment. Basically, all a law does is define you violating a social construct and what the punishments for that violation will be. They don't stop it. They're all punitive and retribution based.
Mm-hmm. Happening after as opposed to happening before. attribution based.
They could be considered incentive not to violate, but they do not actively prevent violation.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really just forewarning. Hey, if you you do that, this is what's going to happen to you.
Mm-hmm.
Law is a social construct.
Is it?
Yes.
So, what brought about this whole topic of discussion?
Libertarianism, of all things.
Yeah.
And how Jojo was a complete moron, and anybody who voted for her has got brain damage.
Oh, yeah. I've been listening to a little bit of Timcast, and they got on it for a hot minute a few episodes ago. It was an interesting conversation to have, for sure. I forgot who they had on, though.
The guys from the Mises Caucus. That's what we were just talking about.
That's what it was. Thank you. What? It's kind of interesting.
Yeah, it was. If ever there were turns.
I finally got around to listening to Charlie Kirk and what's the other guy?
Vosh.
Vosh, yeah.
Vosh. Yeah, that's what it was. Charlie Kirk and Vosh kind of hashing it out. It was very lackluster. It didn't feel like a debate.
Because it wasn't. Charlie went at it hard and got his dick knocked in the dirt. Because Vosh played that 100% right. Vosh knew exactly what he was doing. And if you ever watch Vosh's stuff, and I don't recommend you do, but if you ever watch Vosh's stuff that he does independent of any other podcaster, platform, or whatever, he is insane and reprehensible. But he knows how to do a podcast with somebody else into somebody else's audience. And that's exactly what he did. He made Charlie Kirk look like a fool.
But once
Charlie
you get
Kirk
inside his
is
own head, he's a little too out there.
Yeah, he's valueless, scrupulous, and honorless. He's just a complete piece of shit.
Interesting. Because I disagreed with him a lot, and I was really disheartened when Charlie kind of caved in. Oh, well, I kind of agree on this. Oh, I kind of agree on that. Well, push back on shit you don't like. Jesus Christ, man.
Charlie couldn't because of Charlie's stylistic problems. Charlie is used to being confrontational, agitative, and combative. And Vosh was having none of it, and Charlie couldn't get an angle on him to engage, and he basically neutered Charlie Kirk with that methodology.
Mm-hmm. I didn't watch it because I don't care for either of them.
Yeah, they played a metagame, and Charlie Kirk lost his lunch.
Oh, so in the same vein, since we're still on Timcast for some reason, what about Hassan Piker and his $3 million socialist haven?
Grifter's gonna grift, dude.
Mm-hmm. It's important to understand one thing about California. My aunt sold her 3-bedroom house in Long Beach, which is not as desired as where's
West Hollywood.
West Hollywood. But is in the not technically the zip code, but the area code anyway. And she sold 3-bedroom house for $1.3 million. And of course, that had to go to buying the next home for $1.5 million. So 3-bedroom, just a regular ass house, 1.3. Now, if someone bought a 5-bedroom house, presumably some amenities for $3 million in West Hollywood. Probably not a lot of amenities either for West Hollywood.
It's an upper middle class house in West Hollywood.
Yeah, like
It's not
like
a mansion. It's a big house. Don't get me wrong, but what's interesting is it's 5 bedroom, 5 bath, 5.5 bath, which means there's a half bath floating around there somewhere. But each bedroom has its own bathroom, and it has a pool and a decent
yeah,
lake.
which means maybe
That sounds like a
not.
pretty damn nice house.
It's a nice house. Don't get me wrong. It's
Yeah.
a nice house, but
But chances are in your life you've been to a house that nice.
Exactly. Anywhere else in the country, that's a million to down to $750,000 house, tops. Pretty much anywhere else in the country. But the problem is it's in West Hollywood, California, and they tacked $2 million onto the price tag for it. So when he says he bought a $3 million house, it sounds obscene to most of the country.
I would say my aunt's house was a $200,000 house.
Yeah, it's the California cost, which is irrational and unlike anywhere else. So, what's Steven saying?
Hassan's home was
1,300. No, it's not 13,000. It's probably 3,300 square feet. That would be about the right size. A big ass house. 3,300 square feet is a big ass house.
That's a fucking huge house. That's a lot of sprawling.
The homes here in Arizona, which stylistically are a lot like the ones in California, a big house here is anything bigger than 2,500 square feet. So a 3,300 square foot house is a big ass house, but it's not a mansion by any means.
I'll put it to you this way. I live on a farm. I'm probably in a probably about a 1,600 or 1,700 square foot house. And it has a nice sized bathroom, like a really nice sized bathroom, and 3 bedrooms. And I mean, it's definitely livable. It's a family house. So to have something twice as big as my house is a step away from luxurious, in my opinion.
Okay. I guarantee. Well, here's the contrast, and why Tim has had the opinion he's had. The property that Tim purchased, that Tim and his clan live on currently, is way bigger and way nicer than what Hassan purchased. Now, Tim paid less because he's in the middle of bumfuck Appalachia. But I guarantee you, Tim's house and compound is way nicer than Hassan's.
Mm-hmm. And he said it was $1 million plus home.
Wait, do you know where he's at?
Yeah, he's in
Tim?
West Virginia.
Yeah, Maryland,
West Virginia, somewhere in that tri-state area.
Oh, he's very close to West Virginia. But like my apartment is just under 1,200 square feet. So there's no way a house with I only got 1 bathroom, so multiple bathrooms ain't gonna fit in my thing. So 1,300 is ridiculous, and I have a big apartment.
Yeah, my guess is it's probably about 3,300 square feet.
Could do with bigger ceilings though. Get those fucking neighbors farther away from me.
I mean, I'll be honest, I don't hear of many apartments getting over 1,000 square feet. So yeah, you got a pretty nice place.
It's 2-bedroom.
I say I had a 3-bedroom apartment that was 1,200 square feet.
Mm-hmm. Well, I've got. There's some space.
And
both the closets are walk-in.
Right now, I'm currently just under 1,700 square feet in my home here, and it's tight when the entire family is here. Thank God the old kids are not here a whole lot.
Like, it's an oddly large closet.
Could be a bedroom.
It could be a sound studio.
For a small child with a scar on his forehead.
No, there's no stairs. But yeah, I have two dressers in my closet that I moved in there. They don't need to be in there, but since the wife's gone, what the fuck am I going to do with all this space? I could literally put my entire studio in that closet. We just have to find a place for socks. Steven says his was his old bedroom apartment was bigger than mine. 1,322 square feet. Yeah, so while I am both team fuck Hassan, I am not going to hold him. Like, good for him.
I am perfectly okay with what he's done, and perfectly okay with his fan base eating him alive.
Absolutely. Oh yes, 100%. That is a hill I want a vacation on.
Yeah,
I'm not going to die on it, but I'll hang out there for a little bit.
Yeah, I mean,
and then go home.
More power to him as a capitalist to do what he's done, but for the venom that he spits out of that stupid ass mouth of his, he deserves everything coming to him.
Yeah.
And I actually take some sort of glee in the fact that he's got that rich and had the ability to make that purchase off the backs of actual communists.
Oh. Yeah, so according to Tim, Tim's estimation of how much he makes versus the hours and fan base of Hassan, he's saying Hassan makes like 12 mil a year.
I don't think it's that much. I bet Hassan probably pulls down a solid 3 to 4 mil a year, which is obscene for anybody calling themselves a communist. But again, he's not living in a communist country, so more power to him. Because he's actually taking money away from real communists.
Yeah. Well, I'm going to give Tim the benefit of the doubt on this one and just be a little bit pissed about it. But, yeah. I don't care for Hassan at all. Or the brave mujahideen who I fucked Dan Crenshaw, as Hassan likes to put it. I think he's a piece of shit. I also don't like Ethan Klein, who's a piece of shit.
Well, dude, anybody could take one look at Ethan Klein and know that dude's a piece of shit.
Yeah. Not only is he a piece of shit, though, he's a door closer. Every time he reaches a new level, he closes the door behind him.
Yeah.
So that's the kind of piece of shit. There is no glass ceiling.
Him and Philly D.
Yeah. There's no glass ceiling of Philly D's own. There's no glass ceiling. There's the people who are wanting you held back that are above you. Doesn't matter what sex you are, they make it harder. Like the once you make money, people put in place things to have those who are trying to make money to keep them from doing it. Like closed captioning for a network is $30,000 a month and has to be paid for a year in advance. That's a form of gatekeeping. You know, you're looking to start a channel and you want to do production, which is all expensive. Buying the equipment is all expensive. And on top of that, you need to put up a $500,000 for closed goddamn captioning.
Makes sense why they have sign language people now. I always wondered why. Why not just put closed captioning whenever the governor or the senator or the president's talking? I mean, shit.
Well, it's already paid for, though. Where is it going to air that doesn't have closed captioning?
Google does it for free.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's pretty
Not
fucking
necessarily great.
Very
Not
accurate.
really. No.
It
I mean-
makes horrible mistakes.
TikTok is definitely it does closed captioning, and it's not that great.
God forbid you have an accent of any sort.
Oh my goodness. Oh, what was the thing the other day? Somebody had said something about, I don't remember, but I don't remember what it was. It was fucking hilarious though, because I was completely mistaken for like a good minute into the video. But yeah, I don't remember what it was. Hold on, let me check real quick.
Was it the Scottish voice active elevator?
No. That's oh god. There's a Scottish girl on there, absolutely beautiful, and she has to close caption her own TikTok.
It kills people.
Oh,
The only
no,
way we
hold on.
prevent it
No, not yeah. I don't want to do.
is accident.
Okay. Jesus, I've got like 15 people who went live. There are so many bots on TikTok. But thankfully they all end in a numbers and letters series. But they have stolen TikToks on them too. Weekend proper birds. Hate Chinese. Yeah, that's racism. Yeah, there's that one. Prism one. That's hilarious. I'm so
Did y'all
funny.
review yet?
They covered it.
Oh, they did?
Sean did.
I didn't catch it. Just give me like a quick 30-second dash.
He could do it in 5. Get him, Sean.
Hated it.
Done.
You- Really?
No, I don't hate the review, but that's the summation of the review.
Oh.
Which is probably a joke that you don't even get.
No, I don't.
I had that earlier with a reference.
But wait, you have no opinion on the movie?
Doctor Strangelove? No, I agree with Matt.
Oh
Really?
yeah, I didn't care for it.
I've never seen it, so I can't really opine. I was just kind of curious.
Yeah, don't waste your time.
I'm gonna have to watch it. I'm just happy. Finally gonna get.
If you want to be that fucked up, just watch Ed Wood. It's more enjoyable.
It is more enjoyable.
What is
Ed Wood.
Ed Wood? Mm.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I'll look it up. But
But yeah, Peter Sellers is never funny.
The Goodfellas.
Peter Sellers is never funny.
Like, I didn't even like the Pink Panther movies as a kid. Peter Sellers just isn't funny.
I never really have anything interesting to say, but I collect pirates, and I want to show y'all what
That's so fucking dumb. She so the girl introduces herself, and she says she collects pirates, and that she's been collecting pirates for most of her life, and her mom collects pirates before her. And I'm like, the fuck? How do you collect pirates?
I was about to ask the same thing.
Yeah, and then she shows me her dishes, and what I thought was pirates was Pyrex.
Oh, Pyrex. Got
Yeah.
it.
And I was like, I thought you said pirates. I was so confused. Yeah, so that led to confusion. No, of course you're. I have one video, and it's fucking ripped from Matt and Blonde show on TikTok, and I have 145 followers. about a good 120 of them are bots.
Would you like to make it 146? Well, I take it back. I don't have a TikTok, so never mind.
No.
Never will.
It's a time waster.
If only you could just transpose that to fucking Instagram, we'd be fine.
Yeah. It kind of does, but it's a time waster between that and Instagram, but I have far too much time as opposed to the other. Like, in general, if I've got 10 minutes to waste, I'll pull up TikTok or Instagram. At work, I'm on it the entire fucking night. Except for this week, I had an audit I had to do, which I failed miserably, which I'm not happy about. No, it had nothing to do with me. The audit was like designed for a bunker in like a hilltop in Kansas, like a National Guard armory. Not a police station in the middle of a city. Like, no, there's not a patrol schedule. There's cops in the building. Each one of them is technically a patrol on their own. So yeah, I ended up doing. I scored a 69%, which usually is nice, but I wasn't happy about it. Like like everything I failed at, I had like paragraphs of shit I was talking to the admin. Like,
just like trying to explain your position.
Half that and just half like snarky annoyance. But yeah. It's like technically everybody on duty is doing a goddamn patrol. Fuck yourselves. I used to hit on a German guy on YouTube. His accent had the caption saying bitch when it said butt. What? How is bitch and butt? I'm German. Okay. Yeah, there's a lot of cute girls with accents. And they're usually on when Americans aren't on. So it's, you get to be with them and like the 6 other people that are in chat because they're in the wrong time zone. Like the nice English girls who are on at 5 a.m. There's a guy on here who's like blown away by like everything American. And he was making, I think his name is Josh from England. And he tried to make Kool-Aid. And he added like 3 cubes of sugar to a Kool-Aid pitcher. and he was like, oh no, that's too tart. And then he adds like 3 more cubes. And I'm like, you're doing it wrong.
Get a bag of granulated sugar.
Yeah, so his second time he did. And he's like, I apologize. I got a little comments.
Yeah. Now, make it according to the directions and realize that Americans add at least twice as much.
Yeah. So he did. And he's like, I don't have measuring cups. So, and then he like reported like, yeah, okay. So, I'm like, nope. No.
Do that 3 more times.
Their fucking bread is huge. I didn't realize how big English bread was. He made peanut butter and jelly sandwiches. And he's like, you say jelly, and we don't have jelly, we have jam. I'm like, it's not going to be as good, but it's still going to be all right. And it wasn't that bad. It didn't look that bad anyway. But anyways, the bread over there is actually a lot bigger than American bread. And it came in a package. Like it wasn't a bag, it was like a fucking package. Apparently, you buy it in like 8 slices, and then you make them all, because there's no way to close that fucking thing. But the 8 slices were like, if you laid 1 slice down, it came in like a cube. Like a legitimate square. All 4 sides were equal. So the sandwich bread, if you can imagine it, is as tall as it is wide, and it is taller than and wider than American bread. It's fucking gigantic. If I was going to order a side of toast at a restaurant for 2 eggs, I would only need 1 fucking piece of toast. Having 2 pieces of toast would leave you with a fucking piece of bread with nothing to do. You'd have to order some sort of jelly or jam for it. But anyways, he got crunchy, or he got smooth peanut butter and jam, and he was really happy with the sandwich. And he made root beer with some bullshit English root beer, and then he ordered off Amazon 2 cans of A&W, and he drank one by itself, and then he was super happy with the other one. And then he made a comment about Americans having guns, and they started posting about their animals, and apparently the most dangerous animal in all of the UK is a hedgehog.
Yeah, they have badgers.
That's well, his claim was hedgehog.
Okay.
And the post was, wait till he finds out about moose. And he lost his shit. But one of his episodes was he lost his shit on the size of Texas. And he's like, oh, and he grabs like all of the UK, and he like three UKs can end up in all of Texas. Mm-hmm. He goes, no one tell him about the biggest state we have.
Alaska.
And he goes, you don't have a bigger state. I own a map. There's no bigger state. And then he's circling the United States. And then he goes, wait, what's the? And then he finds like Alaska, and he's like, you're fucking kidding me. He lost his shit. And like, it's like he's not outraged, but he's like a hyper incredulous. Really is what it is. Like he does it well, and it's funny, and he's got the good accent as opposed to like Cockney. But good looking guy too.
Mm.
Well, did you guys see that Zuby's over here for a while, an extended vacay or whatever he's doing?
He's probably not allowed back.
At this point, I don't see why he'd want to go, but he's in Texas right now. But
God,
he was complaining. He's like, yeah, I just don't understand American car culture, and I'm like, bitch, you're here. Have somebody take you from Austin to Houston, and in 5 hours, when you get there at going 60 miles an hour or 120 kilometers an hour, tell me you don't need a fucking car.
Oh, that's another one of his videos. Is well, it's the same video in Texas about driving a day and still being in the goddamn state.
Mm-hmm.
He's like, twice you could get from my house to one end of the country, all the way back to the other end of the country, back to my house in the same period of time. And I'm like, not in your car. What the fuck, are you kidding me?
I mean, I made it from here to Houston in 14 hours, but I was hauling balls to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, minimum speed limit in Texas is like 95. I'm sorry. I won't drive.
Well, and for the longest time in Arizona, we didn't have, I mean, there were posted speed limits, but they weren't strictly enforced because the law was written as reasonable and prudent.
Mm-hmm.
And we have big, flat, wide open, dry roads.
Yeah.
45 on a surface street is the minimum.
Mm-hmm.
If you're doing 45, you've got people cussing you out behind you.
Yeah.
And it still takes an hour to get across town.
Yep.
I wish Google Maps had the transpose feature where you could just pick up an area and transpose it onto another area.
Oh, that would be kind of fun, actually.
Yeah.
I'd like to take the Phoenix metro area and plop it down on the UK and see how much of it eats up.
Now for the at.
Why? Why? All right, hang on, hold it. Yeah.
What'd you do to him?
That was a her. And the wife just got back home, and so she was barking to be let out of the room so she could go bug the wife.
Oh. Yeah. Mm. Hey, speaking of, do you want a rat terrier or Jack Russell Terrier?
No, I've got enough dogs, thank you.
Oh, come on. What's one more?
Another mouth to feed and
Yeah, one more.
nowhere for them to run around.
Yeah, this would be my nightmare. Great dog. Like, I loved Eddie from Frasier, but God, he's so hyper. I need a nice beagle.
Yeah, no more little dogs for me. I like big
Just
dogs.
lazy and food oriented.
Beagles are all right, except they bark a lot.
Yeah, that's true. But if you train them, they'll just eat food, not bark. Also, bulldogs are pretty non-barky and food-oriented, as well as lazy. But it have to be a boy, because females, yeah, they have some troubles in that department. But I saw a video, it was a short on YouTube, of a woman who bought her husband his dream dog. And she was like excited, but kind of wanted to draw it out. So she did like the worst way possible. Like, she arrives home from work a couple hours early. He's like, what are you doing home? She goes, I have a confession. I didn't go to work today. And I'm like, okay. I mean, you're starting off good. She's like, I did something else. You might be upset. I'm like, you're going the wrong way. Like, and it's like, I went behind your back. I'm like, holy shit, this is the wrong video for that. And he's like, well, come out to the car. And there's someone I want you to meet. I'm like, if you don't hit her, you weren't listening to the conversation properly. But so they go out, and it's a fully grown fucking bulldog. It's actually probably the biggest bulldog I'd ever seen.
Jeez.
But apparently there was only two, which is like as soon as it was big. But I'm like, that's a pretty old bulldog. She goes, he's 2 years old. I'm like, oh, that's not bad, man. This is a fucking giant. But it was cute, fucking lazy, and I don't know how she got that dog into the car because she was a fucking little barrel. But it's like, you could have hit her, and I would have forgiven you.
You had the okay to do it. Why didn't you?
Did I say pit bull? I meant bulldog. Did I say bulldog?
Yeah, you said bulldog.
Okay. Oh, so Black Magic got to play the pit bull. I like pit bulls. I think they get a bad rap. They do have lockjaw. Like, there's no denying they have lockjaw. But they're actually really good with kids.
I wanted a bulldog. Instead, I got that.
there's this one, and it's so fucking adorable. This black lady owns it, and she's talking about like how like all the bad things that are said about pit bulls, and it is like the least pit bullest pit bull to ever pit bull. Like it didn't have the jaws, and it was looking up at her the whole time, like backwards, and he was just so fucking cute. And but I prefer pugs to bulldogs.
Oh, I'm not a pug fan.
Yeah. They're ugly.
I wasn't until I met a pug, and then I literally had my mom buy the pug off the guy. We were babysitting him for an extended period of time, and after like 6 months, and I'm like, I don't want this dog to go. And my mom's like, you know, it's your birthday. And I'm like, okay. And she came back. She's like, and your Christmas. And I'm like, that's okay too. And like the dog was annoying, and I was like fully annoyed with the dog while loving the dog. Really, it was my first marriage. It was young enough that it didn't have it didn't come to its name yet. So his name was Bugsy, and I renamed him Bugs Me, and it stuck for the entire life of that fucking dog because he bugged me. He was like conscious and snoring. But he was a really good dog. And like the best part is like him giving up like halfway through a walk just made me feel like I really achieved something. Like dog's like, I don't even want to shit anymore, just take me home. And he had no eye problems, but I would clean his eye boogers every day with Q-tips. He had no ear problems because I also cleaned his ears every day with Q-tips because taking care of my dog. It's my dog. And no bowel issues. And the only problem is he couldn't.
I was waiting for you to say you his butt with a. I was waiting for it.
You should know. He doesn't look like that. He was fine with. It's just like I like my dog, but some things you got to do on your own. But actually, I had a Rottweiler that she had a colic on her cut tail, and you couldn't trim the colic. Like all of her hair, absolutely, her entire body was slick and all going the same direction, but her tail had like this little thing that stuck out the just ruined the aesthetic. And if you approached her ass with scissors, she was not happy. But she's a funny dog. Like she's a good dog, you know, just a great big fucking Rottweiler. But like if you like came at her with scissors, she eyed you. Like, anything having to do with scissors at all, she was giving you an eyeball. Like, I know what those are for. You're not getting anywhere near me. So it kind of makes me question like the dog's memory.
Mm-hmm.
Because she had clipped ears and a clipped tail. And I had a Rottweiler without a clipped tail. That's a mistake. Clip your damn Rottweiler's tail. It's not like for an aesthetic or something. The whole fucking tail is cartilage. And will beat the shit out of you. It's the strongest tail I've ever had. Like, you know, like you ever seen like a happy dog and there's like the other dog behind him getting his face beaten with a tail?
Yeah.
That's cute. If that was a Rottweiler, that dog would be unconscious. It's a very strong tail. I said that, but my pug had a clipped tail too, and there's no reason for that. I've met other pugs. They don't have. I guess it sometimes gets the way of their shit, but other than that, there's no reason for it. I would never have another pug because of that pug. I loved that pug. I miss you, Bugs Man. Maybe like if it was a different kind, because it was like the brown ones. Maybe like I wouldn't get a black one. I just don't care for them. And I like my bike, so I don't want to. If it left me, it would take the bike with it. Those brindle ones, I like brindle as a color. We can go ahead and get the fuck out of here and go over to Super Chats. Or Super Chats.
Super Chats? That'll be a new one.
Not here. I will get on live on TikTok before we ever get Super Chats.
I was going to say, when am I getting a cut of this?
Shit, cut it. Nothing.
But,
You get your cut weekly. What are you talking about?
I would like to remind you fuckers, it costs me $7.99 to host this now. So we're actually losing money. This is more than just taking out a couple hours of our night. I'm paying to fail here. that's a new level of shittiness. I mean, we are paying, like everyone's paying electricity, so but we're actually much worse off than you thought we were financially. I can dig it.
I can totally dig it.
This is hurting our bottom line. We have not been in the black.
What you're saying is I should set up a Streamlabs.
No. Who the fuck's Hey, 2 black magic a month fight me IRL for $1 each. I think I'm good.
Hey, that's half our bottom line.
Yeah, like it.
We could subsidize your costs. Come on now.
So if I did the math, we made $28 because Steven called somebody a faggot twice. And I spent $90 on Meetup. Fucking whatever this fucking I saw it the other day. It hit me the first time because it gave me a week free, and so last week it hit me with the actual first time fee.
Google Meet.
And it was Google Me. It's what it came up on my debit card. Like, what now?
All right, we're seeming to have some sort of breakdown with a child out there that I should probably go look at.
All right, let's go ahead and get out of here.
All right.
Good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
Well, I believe in good vibrations is what creates a beautiful nation.